Yet it's more like the beautiful Aphrodite emerging from the waves. The waves that gave St. Petersburg life are constantly harrying the city, threatening to turn into a disaster. St. Petersburg shall be laid waste. St. Petersburg shall be laid waste. St. Petersburg shall be laid waste. Again, that terrible prediction. And the nights are now no longer white but black. There comes the time of terrible dreams and visions, and it seems that chaos is astir beneath the city. At that moment it inevitably comes to mind that the city was built on marshes, built on bones, built by people in revolt against nature. The scene of destruction and death was dreadful. The Winter Palace stood like a rock amid the stormy sea, resisting on all sides the onslaught of the waves that broke with a roar against the fastness of its walls and bespattered them with spray almost to the top story. In the Neva the water boiled as in a cauldron, and with incredible force reversed the flow of the river. The bridges were torn away and shattered. Thus one eyewitness described St. Petersburg's most terrible flood that reached its peak on the 7th of November 1824. After the 1824 flood, Emperor Alexander I came out with the legendary statement, "Tsars cannot cope with God's elemental force." That same cataclysm inspired Pushkin's narrative poem, The Bronze Horseman. The Bronze Horseman, the monument to Peter, the Tsar who dared to challenge the elements and build a city in such a perilous place, has in the imagination of its citizens acquired features of a horseman of the apocalypse. Naturally, Pushkin's poem and Alexander Benoit's brilliant illustrations for it played a major part in this transformation. Stricken by God's unlooked-for awful wrath, the people wait for certain death. St. Petersburg needed protection from the malevolent element. Perhaps for that reason it is populated by strange, mysterious beings acting as talismans. The Egyptian sphinxes maintain an aloof silence. A strange, bestial smile plays across the faces of lions that have somehow appeared in a northern city. Winged griffins rock the city on chains as it sleeps at night. And the rostral columns that stand on the tip of Vasilyevsky Island, where once the port was located, also seem to be guardians of the city. Once the city's maritime gateway, today the rostral columns are just symbols of sovereignty over the sea. They are decorated with rostra, the prows of enemy ships, trophies of naval victories put on show in a tradition that derives from ancient Rome. In the 19th century, this area was the port, the maritime gateway to St. Petersburg, and the rostral columns served as lighthouses for ships entering the city. The figures around the columns represent 4 major Russian rivers: the Neva, Volga, Dnieper and Volkhov. Popular mythology, though, holds that the figures adorning the columns are the fisherman Vasily and his wife Vasilisa, the first inhabitants of Vasilyevsky Island and its protectors. And when the great torches are lit at the tops of the columns on public holidays, they seem to be scaring off evil spirits. The tip or spit of Vasilyevsky Island is a favourite place with artists. Artists generally have reproduced St. Petersburg on their canvases in an endless host of variations, as if they were afraid that this wonder might up and disappear. But could something like St. Isaac's Cathedral, say, just disappear? One of the grandest edifices in St. Petersburg. The first church consecrated to St. Isaac of Dalmatia, the patron saint of Peter the Great, was constructed back in 1710. Subsequently, the cathedral was reconstructed 3 times, under Catherine II, Paul I and Alexander I. The last St. Isaac's, the one we see today, was 40 years in the making. Some people said that the architect, Auguste de Montferrand, was deliberately stretching out the construction process because a fortune teller had told him he would die after it was completed. Others consoled themselves with the belief that while the cathedral remained unfinished, nothing would happen to the city. Legends aside, construction work tended to take a long time in St. Petersburg because people built in an unusual way. They constructed not just separate buildings, but whole architectural ensembles. The unsurpassed master of the architectural ensemble was Carlo Rossi. His creations unite parts of the city in a single whole, so that it's impossible to remove even a detail, let alone a building. But any St. Petersburg cityscape can be taken and framed. That is what makes it so easy for an artist to find a good view in St. Petersburg. Favourite spots with artists are the Fontanka and Moika rivers and the Catherine Canal. Like arteries run back to the heart, all these St. Petersburg waterways run back to the heart of the city, the Summer Garden. The Summer Garden remains the Summer Garden, whatever the season. Peter the Great once came back from a journey abroad and said, "I want to have a garden better than the one at Versailles." From across Russia, lime trees, larches, cedars, pines, oaks, chestnuts, and a host of aromatic flowers were brought to St. Petersburg to create this paradise.